Tell.
Ion channels and receptors. Hey there, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of ion channels and receptors, a crucial topic in molecular pharmacology. So, let's break it down together in a way that's easy to understand. First up, let's talk about what ion channels actually are. Imagine them as tiny gates in the cell membrane that allow ions like sodium, potassium, calcium, and chloride to pass in and out of the cell. These channels are essential for various cellular functions, especially in our nervous system. Ion channels are specialized proteins embedded in cell membranes that allow ions like sodium, potassium, calcium, and chloride to flow in and out of cells. This movement is crucial for many physiological processes, including muscle contraction, neurotransmission, and maintaining the resting membrane potential. There are three main types of ion channels based on how they open: voltage-gated, ligand-gated, and metabotropic channels. Let's break these down one by one. Voltage-gated ion channels open in response to changes in the electrical potential across the membrane. Think of them as gates that only open when the voltage reaches a certain threshold. They are crucial for generating action potentials in neurons. For example, when a neuron gets excited, sodium channels open, allowing Na+ ions to rush in. This influx causes the neuron to depolarize and generate an action potential, which is essentially a nerve impulse that travels down the axon. Voltage-gated sodium channels are key players in the initiation of action potentials. Drugs like lidocaine, a local anesthetic, target these channels to block sodium influx, effectively numbing the area and preventing pain signals from being transmitted. For example, when a neuron gets excited, sodium channels open, allowing Na+ ions to rush in, leading to depolarization. After this, potassium channels open, letting K+ ions flow out, which helps return the membrane back to its resting state. This entire process is super fast. Think about it. It can happen in just milliseconds. Now, let's switch gears to ligand-gated ion channels. These channels open when specific molecules, or ligands, bind to them. A great example is the nicotinic acetylcholine receptor, which is activated by acetylcholine, a key neurotransmitter involved in muscle contraction and cognitive functions like learning and memory. When acetylcholine binds to these receptors, it triggers a conformational change that opens the channel, allowing ions to flow through. This process is vital for communication between neurons and muscle cells. Another important ligand-gated channel is the GABA receptor. GABA, or gamma-aminobutyric acid, is our brain's primary inhibitory neurotransmitter. When GABA binds to its receptor, it opens a channel that allows chloride ions to enter the neuron, leading to hyperpolarization. This makes it harder for the neuron to fire, which is crucial for regulating anxiety and preventing overexcitation in the brain. But what happens when these channels don't work properly? Dysfunction in ion channels can lead to various disorders, known as channelopathies. For instance, in conditions like epilepsy, the balance of excitatory and inhibitory signals can be disrupted, leading to seizures. Treatment often involves medications that target these ion channels, like anticonvulsants or benzodiazepines, which enhance GABA signaling to reduce anxiety and prevent seizures. Speaking of medications, many drugs used in psychiatry and neurology target these ion channels and receptors. Understanding how these channels work helps researchers develop better treatments for conditions like depression, anxiety, and neurodegenerative diseases. Metabotropic ion channels are linked to G proteins and second messenger systems. When a ligand binds to these receptors, it triggers a cascade of intracellular events rather than opening an ion channel directly. For instance, serotonin receptors, like the 5-HT3 receptor, play a role in various functions, including mood regulation and gut signaling. Targeting these receptors with specific drugs can help manage conditions like depression and anxiety. Next, let's talk about ligand-gated ion channels. These channels open when specific chemicals, or ligands, bind to them. A great example is the nicotinic acetylcholine receptor. When acetylcholine binds to this receptor, it triggers the channel to open, allowing Na+ ions to flow into the cell. This is super important for muscle contraction and neurotransmission. Now, onto metabotropic ion channels. These are a bit more complex. They don't open directly in response to a ligand. Instead, they work through a second messenger system. When a ligand binds, it activates G proteins inside the cell, which then trigger a cascade of events leading to the opening of the ion channel. This is how cells can amplify signals and respond to their environment in a more nuanced way. Now, what happens when these channels don't function properly? Dysfunction in ion channels can lead to a variety of disorders, known as channelopathies. For instance, in myasthenia gravis, the body produces antibodies that block nicotinic acetylcholine receptors at the neuromuscular junction, leading to muscle weakness. This is a perfect example of how critical ion channels are for our health. Ion channels and their connection to various disease. Ion channels are essential proteins in our cells that allow ions to flow in and out, helping to regulate everything from muscle contractions to nerve impulses. There are three main types of ion channels: voltage-gated, ligand-gated, and metabotropic channels. Each type plays a unique role in our body, and dysfunction in these channels can lead to various diseases. Let's break it down. First up, we have voltage-gated ion channels. These channels open in response to changes in electrical membrane potential. They are crucial for generating action potentials in neurons and muscle cells. When these channels malfunction, it can lead to conditions like epilepsy. In epilepsy, abnormal electrical activity in the brain leads to seizures, which can vary from mild to severe. Seizures occur when there's an imbalance in the excitatory and inhibitory signals in the brain, often involving voltage-gated sodium channels. Medications targeting these channels help stabilize the electrical activity and reduce the frequency of seizures. Next, we have ligand-gated ion channels. These channels open when specific chemicals, or ligands, bind to them. A prime example is the nicotinic acetylcholine receptor, which is vital for muscle contraction. When these channels are disrupted, it can lead to autoimmune diseases like myasthenia gravis. In myasthenia gravis, the body's immune system produces antibodies that block or destroy these receptors at the neuromuscular junction, leading to muscle weakness, especially in the eyes and face. This condition can make simple tasks like talking or walking incredibly challenging. Finally, we have metabotropic ion channels, which are linked to G proteins and second messengers. These channels play a significant role in various neuropsychiatric disorders. For instance, serotonin receptors, which are metabotropic, are involved in mood regulation. Dysfunction in these receptors can contribute to conditions like depression and anxiety. Understanding how these ion channels work can help us develop better treatments for these conditions. For example, many antidepressants target serotonin pathways to help balance mood and alleviate symptoms. So, there you have it. From voltage-gated channels that help our neurons communicate, to ligand-gated channels that play a role in muscle function, and metabotropic channels that affect our mood, ion channels are crucial for our health. They help regulate everything from muscle contractions to mood and cognition. To wrap it up, ion channels are essential for cellular communication and function. They help regulate everything from muscle contractions to neurotransmitter release. Understanding these channels not only sheds light on basic biology but also opens doors for developing new treatments for various diseases. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content on molecular pharmacology. Until next time, keep exploring the wonders of science.
PharmaPal.